Thank you so much for joining me here on a Tuesday night. With you up until 10 o'clock tonight. For the next 15 minutes or so, though, it's time to step into the chop zone as I welcome in Spinner Howland. Spinner, how was holiday weekend, buddy?
Mate, I fully embrace the United States, your Day of Independence, as I put on my Facebook page, celebrating the day that you all decided to not pay taxes to England anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and as an Australian, you guys can relate to that kind of thing, right?
Well, it was funny. A bunch of guys posted a very unhappy picture of the Queen on my Facebook post. With Happy Treason Day, you damn colonials, which I got a good kick out of.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it was good. But no, mate, I really enjoy it. I think everyone loves the 4th of July. It's a very, it's an all-embracing holiday, even for the people that are not necessarily, born and bred Americans.
Mm-hmm.
They get right into it, enjoy the barbecues, enjoy the fireworks. It truly is a fantastic weekend of festivities and celebration.
No, it's fantastic
yeah,
stuff.
Mate, I get into it every year.
Look, come on, man. I mean, who doesn't enjoy a burger, a dog, and a beer? And it's basically a weekend for that,
yeah.
Right? That's what we do, and then some fireworks to go along with it, as long as you're doing it safely, as not everyone did. On the 4th of July weekend, there's always some stories coming out of it. I know the USA Rugby League took the weekend off. They gave everybody the chance to celebrate the 4th of July weekend as well, but everyone ready to get things cranked back up coming up on Saturday, right?
Yeah, mate, it's good to have a bye week in the middle of the season. You get those little injuries that have been annoying your players, you can get over them, but certainly everyone's itching to get back into the business end of the season. The big news, I think, for USA Rugby League, and I think we sort of waited as we come into the last part of the year for our season, was the announcement of the head coach for the USA national team. It has been named Brian McDermott. He is the current head coach of the Leeds Rhinos. He has been here to Jacksonville. Obviously, he brought Leeds Rhinos over early in the year for their training camp. They have committed to come back again in January to Jacksonville and training camp. So a big shout out to everybody in Jacksonville that made them so welcome. I know they were around town quite a bit, run into a number of people, ate at a number of different restaurants, shopped at a bunch of shops. And the reception they get while they're here and the way that Jacksonville treats the players and the staff, they raved about it. The city raved about UNF. They couldn't be more excited to come back. But for the USA team to have a guy of Brian McDermott's calibre, it would not be unlike an NFL head coach, like Tom Coughlin, for instance, going to coach a team in the Canadian Football League. Mm-hmm. Like he competes at the top level. The Leeds Rhinos are at the elite level in the European Super League. He has won championships there, which is the equivalent of Super Bowls. He's won World Club challenges. He's also a former player that's played at the elite level, played for Great Britain and for England. So a guy of his experience and the way he conducts himself while he was here and interacted with the players from the United States makes him a perfect fit. We could not be more happy with him. And to top it all off, he is volunteering his time. Mm-hmm. He's doing it, he's coming over here. He basically said, look, I would love to be a part of the development of our sport outside of the heartland nations. So we're ecstatic about him coming here and getting the USA team hopefully winning the World Cup qualifiers, mm-hmm. which will put them directly into the 2017 World Cup, which will be played in Australia and New Zealand. At the moment, it looks like the qualifiers will be held in early December of this year. We're still yet to have that absolutely confirmed, and I still am, all over the bid to bring them here, either to Jacksonville or at least into the state of Florida.
How long is the qualifying process for the World Cup, and how does that work? I know, like soccer, because it is such a global sport, you have the regional qualifying, basically, where it's going to be North America, and there's going to be a handful of teams from this area, a handful of teams from Europe, a handful of teams from Asia. How does it work with Rugby League right now as far as World Cup qualifying?
Right now, the top teams from the last World Cup, so generally the global powerhouses of the sport get an automatic bid, automatic entry. You can obviously think, look, Australia, New Zealand, England, France, mm-hmm. The countries that are there consistently at the top of the global sport. Then it's not dissimilar to soccer. You do have regional qualifiers. So we obviously fall in the Americas region, which takes in Canada, the United States, and Jamaica. There will be a number of European qualifiers. There'll be qualifiers in the Pacific Islands. So yeah, you do have your regional qualifying tournaments. The tournament, for us in the Americas, will put the US against Canada and Jamaica in basically a 3-game series over about 12 days. And it's win and you're in. It really is that simple. You win that tournament and you're heading to the World Cup, and you then basically have, at that stage about, probably just under 2 years to prepare yourself, get the best possible team you can, identify the younger players. You know that, 2 years from now, you're going to be looking at guys that have had 2 years of elite preparation to go to the World Cup and represent the United States. So,
And you said the World Cup is actually going to be in 2017. Qualifiers coming up in December for the World Cup, which means they have between now and December to get a team ready for the qualifiers. What is going on as far as putting together a roster for Team USA?
Yeah, I told you last week a little bit about it, but the Southern Division of USA Rugby League, we are putting on, for Americans, it's not unlike a combine on Sunday in DeLand. All 4 teams in the South Conference play games in Florida this coming weekend. So the top 4, 5 or 6 players from each team that have been identified via coaching staff, by watching game film, or they've been identified, their name appearing at the top of MVP lists after each game. We'll bring all those players together. I think there's a total of about 23 in total. We'll come into this camp, this clinic, combine, call it what you want. And from there, you whittle that down to the guys who you truly think deserve to go into the player pool. And whether the player pool is, 30, maybe 35 players in total, from that you'll pick your 20 best based on the competition you're going to face. We hope to get a couple of lead-up games against Canada before the qualifiers come together. And should we get through the qualifiers and be the team that goes into the World Cup, which we truly expect and hope we are, the 2 Super League teams that have chosen to come over to Jacksonville for training camp, Leeds obviously as mentioned, also in discussions with a team called Hull Kingston Rovers or Hull KR to come as well. We would like to utilise both those teams and put at least, that time of year, early January, at least the best USA team we can out in front of that level of competition. You play against guys at the elite level, your players automatically are going to get better and take something away from the game. So we're looking at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 or 7 games over the next 6 months to prepare the US as we start preparations to go into the World Cup over the next 2 years. So it's a very busy time, and it's a very serious time for our players. A lot of the guys still don't understand the enormous step up that it is playing at that level. It is twice what they're playing now. You've got to be twice as fit, twice as hard, and willing to sacrifice twice as much to be a part of pulling on, the red, white, and blue and going out and representing your country. But again, the reward is it is the highest honour in any sport. And I can tell, I don't care whether the sport is professional, amateur, Olympics, I don't care what it is. There is never the glory of being able to pull on your country's flag as some sort of a uniform and walk out there in true international competition while the national anthem plays and you go ahead and do battle against another nation. It truly is the upper echelon of all sports, I believe.
Spinner Howland joining us in the Chop Zone, as he does every Tuesday night during the season here for the Jacksonville Axemen. And we'll get into the Axemen as they get back in action this weekend. Did want to ask, I know you said this weekend in DeLand, the players from teams in the South will be gathering up. Are they doing a similar thing for the teams that are in the northern part of the league?
Yeah, not this weekend, but they are in plans at the moment. There will be similar clinics. Look, call them a combine. Let's make it American as much as we can here for the Mid-Atlantic and the Northern divisions. All players, I know that I spoke to Peter Ilfield over the week. I think he has a list from the teams up there of in the 30s, so 30-something players from across the 10 teams up north. And they'll all get their shot to impress. You go out and it literally is a combine. It's your fitness, it's your skill, it's your understanding of the game, it's your individual athleticism based on some specific drills. And it's also one of the most important parts that people don't think about. How well does an individual player gel with guys he's unfamiliar with? You're basically hand-picking or cherry-picking the best of the best from all these teams. Are they going to play well in a system they may not be completely comfortable in or used to? And players that in some cases they don't even know their name.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to gel very quickly and just believe in a system.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who watches any kind of, I'm sure rugby is the same way. If you look at it at the highest level of club sport, that's the highest level. Like, the international level is where, like you said, the glory of putting on a jersey that represents your country. I think that's the most, emotional level of the game. But I think playing at the highest level is that club level, because those are the guys who get to play together every week. every year. They've been together for a long time. They know where the other guy's going to be, and it's putting together these international teams, and especially in a short time like this. I mean, we're talking, it's July 7th today. You're talking qualifiers coming up in December, and you're trying to get a bunch of guys that are playing in league still to get ready for what they're going to have to be ready for when it comes time for not only qualifiers, but beyond that, a World Cup. I mean, that's a lot to ask for guys who aren't going to be able to play together on a week-to-week
basis. Oh, absolutely. And it's guys that aren't able to train together on a week-to-week basis, and they're going to actually get together as a team, as a unit, very infrequently. And personally watching Brian McDermott while he was here with Leeds, and the way he took in the two American players into the Leeds Rhinos and the influence he had on them and his patience and his understanding was one of the biggest attributes that I personally thought he was extremely well suited for this job. Mm-hmm. He understands that there is not going to be the rugby league acumen in our players here, and he was completely comfortable having these two complete rookies, almost rookies to the game, in amongst a team full of, in the UK, in the United Kingdom, guys that would have trouble walking down the street and not being recognised. I mean, they're superstars over there. And he took these two guys in, and it just went as smooth as you would like. So he is definitely the kind of coach that he can embrace the level that he's going to have to deal with and get the best out of these guys, motivate them to want to give more than they actually probably believe they can.
We'll continue to keep you updated, obviously, on what's going on with the World Cup and that team as it continues to get put together, and hopefully an opportunity to go watch our boys when everything is said and done coming up in December. If not in Jacksonville, somewhere else in the state of Florida, where at least if you are a fan of rugby league, you'll have an opportunity to go check out what Team USA is doing as they attempt to qualify for the upcoming World Cup. Want to get into the Jacksonville Axemen? I know Rugby League is hosting a bunch of military fundraisers coming up this weekend with their games, including the Axemen, who will be visiting Tampa, but they are raising money for something called Team Red, White, and Blue. What is that, Spinner?
Yeah, mate, Team Red, White, and Blue is a military-based charity. They are a national organisation, and I know that they definitely, they have chapters sort of all over the country. They're not your typical kind of in-your-face charity. They base sort of their mission statement is that they host sort of regular social gatherings, fitness activities, and they participate in community events. And you don't have to be formal or active duty military to be a part of it, but obviously that's sort of where they're based. So a lot of active or former duty military are part of it. So the advantage of now being a league, where we go from Boston all the way through to Tampa, a number of our teams have chosen to host fundraisers, whether it's hosting raffles during the game, whether it's contributing a part of the gate takings and things like that, where it will go to Team Red, White and Blue. And obviously this was the weekend closest to the 4th of July holiday, where we wanted to make an impact as a league. I know the Philadelphia Fight, they're doing something, Tries for the Troops is what they've named their event. The Tampa Mayhem, where the Jacksonville Axemen will visit this weekend, are going to be hosting a charity raffle down there. They have a number of prizes donated, whether it's team merchandise, whether it's things from Team Red, White and Blue, from all the sponsors. And we've reached out where all of the Team Red, White and Blue people, so all the military people, come to the event at no charge. We basically say, look, come out and watch this game. It's good for us to be able to promote to a large group of people, but more so, it's a great way to give back. And the Tampa Mayhem themselves actually have 3, or I think might even be 4, but I know absolutely 3 veterans on the team. One was a Marine for 20 years, and he's playing on the team. So to be able to recognise those sorts of players, it kind of gives you that great feeling of, look, for all you've done for us, this is kind of the least we can do as a league, as a team, and as participants in a sport.
Sure.
So, the Axemen are excited to go down there and be a part of it. Obviously, the serious end of that is that the Axemen are ready to go down there and get a win.
Heck yeah. 2 in a row, trying to make it 3, right?
Yeah, mate, look, they're 2-2. They need to chip away. If they want to get a home game playoff here at UNF, the wins have to keep coming now. The preparation, I actually just left practice tonight. I was over there watching the boys get around UNF. Look, they look crisp at times, but you can tell that I think they've had a week off, maybe a couple of beers. Some of them look a little sleepy. But overall, it's a very serious week, and they're going to go down to Tampa, and this will, I think they're looking at this, maybe needs to be their statement game. Having said that, Tampa comes off an absolutely fantastic win over the Central Florida Warriors, who give the Axemen a bit of a touch-up in game 1, in round 1 this week. Tampa went up there and belted them 40-28. So it is going to be a very tough outing. with the emotions high from the Team Red, White and Blue pre-game. Look, the first 20 minutes of that game, I think, is going to be running on pure adrenaline. And that's the kind of rugby league that we want to put in front of the fan base anyway. You want guys going in there, basically, knocking bodies off one another.
No, absolutely, and it's just down the road. I mean, it's Tampa, so if you have the time on Saturday, go check them out. I'm sure the start time's what it usually is, right? 6:30?
No, Tampa actually get their game underway early, 3:30 in Tampa. The other game will be the Atlanta Rhinos visiting the Central Florida Warriors in DeLand. That is a 6:30 kickoff. And again, two teams that got beat last week, the last round before the bye, coming together. Atlanta knows they need a win. If they get a win, they secure a home game for the playoffs. The Warriors know they need a win to keep their hopes alive of hosting in DeLand. So there's plenty to play for all four teams.
No doubt about it, as the Axemen head down to Tampa this weekend trying to get above 500. And what is the statement game, really, it sounds like, for both those teams as they get the second half of their season started after the Independence Day holiday. We'll talk with you again next week, Spinner, find out what happens with the Axemen down in Tampa as they get ready to defend that home field advantage that they've had for so long, again, a week from Saturday.
Yeah, mate, one more game to go, and the season, the record will stand for another year. So look, they have that in the back of their minds. You don't like to talk about it. You know what it's like in sport. You don't want to talk about the things that might sneak up and bite you later. But everyone's thinking about it. It's a week from Saturday away. The Warriors come up here, and that is for a number of reasons, probably more reasons than the rest of the season. A must-win for this team.
No doubt about it. Spinner will join me again next Tuesday here in the Chop Zone. See you next week, Spinner.
Thanks, mate.
All right, he is Spinner Howland. He'll join me again next Tuesday night as we will re-enter the Chop Zone and get you caught up on everything going on.